Hey, good morning guys. We're down here at the Ottoway River, just outside of Traverse City. We're here with the DNR and some of the Grand Traverse Band of Adair and Chippewa Indians from their Natural Resource Department, and I'm very excited to be joined by Heather from the DNR. And Heather, can you explain a little bit about what we're doing here today and what the purpose of being here in the river is?
Sure. So we're going to do a fish community survey here below Brown Bridge Road today. This is, I think, about the 7th or 8th year that we've done this particular station. We typically do a population estimate, which is a 2-day pass where we go through this stretch. It's 1,000 feet the first day. We electroshock fish, we mark them, and then we come back the second day and look to see how many fish we catch that are recapped versus new fish to try and figure out how fish are moving in and out of this particular river stretch. As I mentioned, I think we've done the population estimate for about 6 years of those 8 now. So we're going to take that extra day and we're going to move to a different stretch of river for this season. So we're just going to do one pass here today. We're going to do the same 1,000 feet that we always do. We will, for the first 500 feet, we're going to look at every species we catch. We do find some rough fish in here. We typically find a couple pike and some rock bass, some panfish. And then after 500 feet, we'll just concentrate on trout. We'll do the same thing. We'll mark fish so we make sure we're not counting anybody twice. And it's a good kind of temperature check for us to come and look at this stretch of river every year and see what the fish community response to the Brown Bridge dam removal has been, even this far down the road.
Have you seen any responses from the dam removal with regards to fish numbers?
Numbers have stayed about the same, and actually the first couple of years after the dam came out, we did see a decline in numbers to some degree, probably as a result of just the changes that occurred, a little bit of sedimentation that occurred after the dam breached. But what we've really seen that's been interesting is the community itself. When we came in here, when the dam was still in place, it was typically like 3 brown trout to every brook trout. Higher numbers of things like smallmouth bass and pike and perch. And now that the dam is out, we see the composition more even. It's typically, the past 2 years, it's been like 50-50 brown trout and brook trout. And we're seeing a lot less of the kind of cool water, warm water species. We still see a few, but a lot less than what we did when the dam was still in place. So the response has definitely been good. And I think the numbers will get back up there as time goes on.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
The amount of voltage that runs through the water that shocks these fish basically makes them float to the top. You know, and then they get tossed, they get measured, they get tagged, and they get actually measured and then identified. That's what Heather's doing. Then they take scale samples, they're put in cards, and those are recorded so they can actually age the fish at a later date. And then the fish is let go.
Brown trout, 11.2.
Is that one of the larger ones that you see in the river, or what's kind of the...
This is kind of a medium-sized one, really.
Probably a 2-year-old fish.
Yeah, probably a 2-year-old fish. In this particular stretch of river, we will see browns up to 20. So when we do these smaller fish, we measure 10 to the nearest inch, 1/10 of an inch, right? Brook trout 2, and then once we get those 10, we just measure them to straight inch class. We'll clip the very top of the caudal lobe, the tail, just to indicate that we've already caught that fish once today and taken that off of it.
Typically what you're seeing in the system is 6 to 8 degrees cooler than it had been with the dam in place. Dams are thermal pollutants. With that temperature, 6 to 8 degrees cooler, that influences the habitat that's more conducive to brook trout reproduction, and that's that 50-50 that we're seeing with the brown trout and brook trout. The brook trout need colder, more oxygenated water. They prefer, and they have a smaller tolerance range than brown trout do. So it's a really, really good thing to see a species that is more selective to good habitat, coming back at a rate that they are because the habitat has been improved.